Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of our Velocity Sellers Podcast. I am your host, Velocity Pete, and today we are joined by a Amazon legend, John Tilley. Thank you so much for coming on to talk to us today about ZonGuru, about 2025, about a variety of different topics, all related back to Amazon and e-commerce in general. I'm excited today to talk to you again more about your company, kind of how you got your start, and a variety of other e-commerce topics. So, John, thank you so much for joining us.
What's up, Pete? Good to be on, man. It's a nice distraction away from Black Friday, Cyber 5. That's literally, it starts next week, but it's obviously started right now. So
yeah, it's been going already. Yeah, and at the time of this recording, it is a week out from Thanksgiving, which is just very crazy to think that we're already at the end of the year, at the end of quarter four, and really in the beginning of this horrible, crazy, rushed period on Amazon.
Dude,
so,
why don't we just talk to like the world and just be like, just make it Black Friday, Cyber Monday, 2 days. That's it. Like discounts. Everyone get on there and buy your stuff. Don't like start like 10 days before, 10 days after, and like just eat our profits. It's just crazy, bro.
It's brutal. I don't know who. No one's making no one's making money or extra money. They're discounting everything. There's all the theories about they discount things, but they raise the price by, like 30%, like the couple months before. So it's really just the normal price on Black Friday. But yeah, my friends went to King of Prussia Mall. There's a big mall by us, out in the Pennsylvania area. They went to King of Prussia Mall today for deals. I'm like, how? It's the Thursday before. It's not even close. It's not even a week out.
21st, and retail is just going nuts, bro. And that's
crazy.
That's the challenge. So now we're all jumping on the bandwagon, and next year we're jumping on it even earlier. And it's just anyway, it needs someone to go in there and just be like, yo, stop the madness.
Yeah, knock it off. I remember when I was a kid, it was the only day that were deals was Black Friday at, you get there at like 4 a.m. to wait outside of a Best Buy or a Target.
Let's do that.
Yeah, the world was a little bit better, I think, back then. So I think we should go back to that. But in any case, yes, now Black Friday is upon us. The deals are upon us. And I think that's going to be a great segue. The first thing I want to do, actually, before I get into any topics, first thing I want to do is I want to give you a chance to give us, me and the audience, a little backstory on yourself. I want to give you a chance to kind of tell us how you got into the space, got into e-commerce, and also the history of ZonGuru.
Yeah, sure. I'll take a couple minutes just to cover that. The accent is South African, not Australian. Everyone's like, "Hey, where are you from, Australia?" No, it's South African originally. I grew up there, and after college, I traveled the States for a year, and went snowboarding, and I did a big Sky Montana, and just the general, just kind of take a year and travel. And then I went back and started my career in advertising. I worked with some pretty big blue chip clients in the advertising space. And then kind of through that career, it was about a 12-year span. I worked at agencies in both South Africa and then London for a while, and then moved back to the US in 2006 and settled in Los Angeles. So first career was a digital advertising on the strategy side, and then the typical story of a lot of us founders. I stumbled my way into an Amazon conference in Vegas, and the penny dropped that there was a huge opportunity to make my jump into entrepreneurship with starting some of my own brands, which I did. Was successful with that, and then saw the opportunity to start ZonGuru in 2016, and really the itch that I was scratching at the time was, all of these technology platforms have data for the sake of data, not accurate, somewhat accurate, but more importantly, not really answering the right business question with data. And I felt there's a big opportunity to do that better, and certainly automate data in the right way. And so that was the start of ZonGuru. We have over 18 different tools that you can use operationally to support you in your growth goals on Amazon. Everything from dashboards to niche analysis, market analysis, alerts, monitoring, etc. But the flagship strength that we've had over the years, and people most know us by, are for our keyword intelligence It's a tool called Keywords on Fire. It does things differently in terms of how it does a better job of finding the localized current keywords for a marketplace, which is crucial, and even more crucial in the advent of AI, because ultimately your keywords is your biggest quality prompt that you're giving to the AI. And then our listing optimization had a lot of world first there, from something that I coined called contextual SEO, really being able to compare it versus competitors and make sure you have the best listing on page one, through to the first company to integrate ChatGPT back in January of 2023. And now we're the first company that is Rufus optimized as well. Our deep expertise around the algorithm from an engineering data perspective, and then how to relate that to SEO on your storefront and listings is our kind of flagship area that we do well with. And mostly what brands use us for, and obviously agencies. We have a lot of agencies that use our technology. And then we do have a services layer for some large brands that use our technology to do a done-for-you service and help them with listings, etc.
Very cool. No, yeah, I mean, that's a lot for me to kind of branch off of and ask you a lot of good questions that I think our audience will appreciate. And I also, again, one of the reasons why I do this, why I love doing this, is because I learn something every time I have a guest on. So I have a feeling I'm going to learn a lot today. So I'm excited by that.
Let's hope. Let's hope I learn something too. Yeah.
The goal is to be the Amazon Joe Rogan, where he just has all these super smart people on there that he learns a lot of stuff. I saw something
pull out the joints, man. Let's smoke up the
him and Elon. Yeah, I saw something. He said someone was making a comparison of Joe Rogan's getting like a college education by having all these people on for completely free. And he actually gets paid to do it for all the advertisements he gets on YouTube. And I don't know if it's a college education, but he's definitely learning a lot of crazy stuff he's got like thousands of episodes already. So I have a feeling that he's got to be learning something every single episode, at least about people in his space or about some topic he doesn't know about. So I like to think I know a little bit about Amazon. I've been called an expert by some of my cousins who are healthcare people, so they have no idea about business. So I definitely take it as it comes.
Take it, man. Take it. Yeah.
So it comes and goes. Same thing with my girlfriend does healthcare, and she's like, you're an expert on this Amazon stuff. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Thanks. All right, I'll take it. But I'm excited to talk to an actual legitimate expert today, and as someone that has been in the business for a little bit longer than I have. That's not an old joke, I promise. And I'm excited to learn more about kind of what you guys not necessarily do, but how you take a look at things that, again, from a different perspective than my own. So yeah, and the first thing you brought up that is obviously the top of everyone's mind is always AI, and what is AI doing? What is Rufus doing? How do I make sure Rufus is showing my products when they type in something like my always example I use is what's the best umbrella in a rainstorm? What's the strongest umbrella in like a strong windy rainstorm? And like I want to make sure my umbrella shows up there. What are you guys doing? And as the first agency to have this Rufus optimized research, what are you guys seeing on your end that it really impacts it, and how does a seller really take advantage of the new Rufus AI?
I mean, I think the first thing to note there is like Rufus is actually a pretty shitty experience, right? Let's not joke at the moment. Like Amazon is notorious of like saying, "Hey, we're launching this amazing thing," and then it's just absolutely crap.
Yeah.
And that's the benefit of what we can do in the space as data experts. But I joke on that point because I get that feedback from sellers all the time. Like, hey, Rufus is actually crap, so why are we optimizing? But the point is, like, Rufus is there and is there to stay. And the reason it's there to stay is not because Amazon has created it. The reason it's there to stay is that fundamentally consumers' way of researching has changed, right? Because of AI, right? We see it right now in our organic numbers. Like, people are not searching on Google anymore. They're searching in ChatGPT. They want an assistant. They want to have a conversation. They want an expert AI assistants to give them recommendations and feedback and to help them make decisions, right? And so that is here, and it's fundamentally here to change, and that has massively impacted the experience that customers are going to start having on Amazon with Rufus, and Rufus is going to get better and better and better, right? So that's just where it's going to get to. 6 months from now, it's going to be 1,000 steps ahead of where it is today. So that's the main point to get across is, like, as a seller, you have to understand how to optimize for that and what that experience is like. And I almost coin it as like, it's not mobile first anymore, it's AI first, right? In terms of how you're looking at listings and stuff, it's like, okay, well, how's Rufus, what's the journey like on Rufus, right? Because you can literally type in, hey, what are the key criteria I should look for in an umbrella, and go back and forth with Rufus 5, 6, 7 times without even going to the search results page. That is a massive change, right? And then you can get some recommendations, click on it and buy it. So you have to be aware of that journey, and then understand how are people using Rufus, what are the different use cases. And it can range from something like very specific, hey, I'm here to buy a product, right? But where the expansion and the opportunity is coming out is the research aspect, which has never historically been a place where people would come to research products, or just kind of come and generally look around on Amazon. They're coming there with a very specific reason. Hey, I want an umbrella, find an umbrella, buy it. Hey, I'm researching something. Hey, I'm going to go to Google and research it. That's changed. You can start to do that now on Amazon, and it will get more and more. Hey, I'm going camping. What are the things that I should be looking for as an expert camper, where there's rocks that I'm going to be climbing over and stuff? Tell me a couple of products or whatever, right? So that broadening of the research components is something that you have to understand as a seller, because you have to then understand that Rufus has the ability of getting products in front of customers without them originally being in your consideration set, right? And that's huge. So I use the example of like, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I was saying, I'm excited to see where it goes. Like you mentioned, it's not super good right now, but I'm excited to see where it goes in the next couple of years. I know they've kind of already started adding things to it. Like I saw that sponsored products, like some of your sponsored ads can show up on the results.
Yeah.
Which kind of like, doesn't that ruin the whole point? Doesn't that ruin the whole point of this organic like helper to say, we scraped all this data. Here is exactly what you're looking for. Here's also an ad for something else. Like I don't get that one, but sorry, you keep going.
Well, I mean, to that point, yeah, of course, Amazon's going to do that. And now there's going to be this whole play of like, how do you get in there? And of course, Amazon's going to get it wrong, and they're going to lean more on how to make more money than the customer experience. And we've seen that with Google over the years. Like that's the great thing about Amazon, is that they're literally like 7 years behind where Google was, right? And so all the fundamental mistakes that Google made, Amazon is making them now. So you can kind of see where it's going. But you know, if you roll that up to paid media versus organic results, Amazon over the last couple of years has leaned more into paid side, because they've all of a sudden clicked that they can make a shitload of money out of us. But it's starting to ruin the organic experience. And so they have to get that balance right? Because if you can't, own and give a great organic overall customer experience, you're going to lose that audience because they can't find what they're looking for. They're just relying on sponsored, which isn't always correct, right? And so they have to be even more careful about that on Rufus' side, because, adding in sponsored ads and taking away from that organic feel of what is so great about AI at the moment is going to be a challenge for them, right? And they're going to get it wrong for sure, but hopefully they get it right eventually. Yeah, so going back to Rufus, I think like a great example is like, hey, I'm struggling to sleep. What are certain products that can help me with that, right? And you might get sound machines, you might get these things, but you might get blackout curtains, right? And blackout curtains are a good match for that. But blackout curtains can also be a match for, hey, I'm trying to block sound from outside, right? Or hey, my furniture is getting ruined. What can be solved for that? So there's all these like major amount of different use cases, and Rufus at a high level is getting prompted, and it's coming up with recommendations based on keyword intelligence, right? What are people searching for, and how to match products to those, and they rely on your listings and how you optimize for that, for sure. It's reviews, it's Q&A, it's the quality score of your listing. All the things that go into the algorithm, for sure. All of those are there, but then it's these kind of longer tail various use cases, and trying to do a better job of matching products to the different types of queries and use cases. And they're doing that because that's what AI has the capability to do that, but they also want to focus on that, because if they can match more products to different use cases, they're going to make more money, right? So So that figuring that piece out is part of the Rufus optimization, and what we've worked really well on is like, how do we optimize a listing for all the different pieces that are needed for SEO, but the layer of Rufus, which is that additional layer of like these longer tail use cases, and making sure that you can get into the recommendation set for those.
Right. And you mentioned earlier too that people aren't coming to, maybe some people are, I don't know, but I feel like the majority of people aren't going to Amazon to window shop and just say, oh, what's in the deal section? Maybe around like Prime Day and like the Black Friday holidays. Um, We've got some buddies that always say, they think because I work with Amazon that I know all of the insider information on what deals are coming out. So they always ask, like, what should I buy on Prime Day this year? I say, I don't know, don't buy anything unnecessarily. Just, you can go look at the Prime section tab and like, yeah, but don't you know like what the best deals are? Sometimes I'll give them my client's product and say, this is a really good deal. You should buy this. The people that we manage, like, this is like, and it's like coffee beans or like a drain cleaner. And it's like, yeah, we should be managing this. Or you guys should be getting this. It's really good. And people aren't going there to window shop. And so you got to be, I guess, and I don't blame Amazon for putting ads on there. I think it ruins the experience a little bit, but they gotta, like I said, they gotta get in front of the right people as much and as best as they possibly can. So
Yeah.
I don't
So yeah,
see a problem with it.
and exactly, and I'm sure like listeners are right now like, well, how do I optimize for Rufus, right? And so a couple of tips I can give is one, there's a very clear similarity between Rufus and the algorithm behind that and ChatGPT. So you can test ChatGPT and say, hey, think about your product and ask various questions that you think would be good prompts and see what it comes back with and gives answers on. And those are the kind of things you need to include in your content. And you can do the same with obviously Rufus. You can go and ask a bunch of questions and get answers and see, what products are coming up there, and try and, resolve those by putting that type of content into your listing. So that's a manual way of doing that. The other piece to really think about is, AI right now on Amazon side reads your images, right? You can take an image right now and you can drop it into ChatGPT and say, hey, tell me what this image, describe what's in this image, right? And what it's going to say around what's in that image. And importantly, if you layer content in there, what is it going to say about it? That's critical, because your images now have to be able to tell that narrative and story with its imagery and the content you put in the image, because that is part of Rufus for sure, and the AI, and it reads those images. So you've got to get that right. Now, obviously, ZonGuru at a high level, we'll create the content that goes into your listings, and structure it in a way that it's correctly structured for ensuring you can maximize the organic rank for every sale that converts from your listing. So how you structure it, title borders, etc., how you put keywords in there, but also structurally how you put it together to make sure that it's matching what Rufus and the algorithm is looking for. So we give you that as a baseline in under 1 minute, and then you get insights, and you can actually manually, finesse it further, and then publish it directly to Amazon through our platform, or download the file and platform. So the point is, we're not trying to solve the very end use case. We're trying to give you the right structure and everything as a baseline in under 1 minute that you can then work on a little bit more and then publish it. So that it's very easy to say, hey, in theory, structure the listing in the right way, but to actually do it is quite difficult. And AI does a really good job of doing that without overstuffing a listing, right? So
Yeah, and we've been using a little bit of AI too as well, and just kind of getting that into our content a little bit. But even just focusing on the content aspect, even before Rufus, I mean, content, in my opinion, content's the most important piece of the puzzle for succeeding on Amazon. You don't have good content, you're not going to sell anything. And maybe if
yeah,
you're
it's a
like,
lifeblood.
maybe if you're like Nike, or people really know your brand, fine. You can just put a picture of a shoe on there and you'll probably still sell products on Amazon. I know it's a controversial brand because they just came back this year. But content has always, in my opinion, been the most important thing. And here's something you might learn today, maybe. The average American shopper in like the past couple of months, they just figured this out. I don't know if Amazon put this out or who else, but the average American shopper spends 8 seconds on a listing. That's it. 8 seconds is the average time that a shopper will spend looking at a product to say, should I buy this? Should I add it to my cart? Should I save it for later? 8 seconds. And so we get people in here that say, that have like very poor images. It's like the product, like front, side, and back. And it's like, this is nothing. You can't do anything with this. You're not telling any story. You got to tell, like you said, you got to tell the story. You got to build the brand confidence in the customer. You got to show them that this is a product worth buying in 8 seconds. You're not going to do that with bullet points. You're going to do that with your images, with your products, with your A plus, your brand story. And that's a very simple topic. That's a very simple idea of saying, like, you want to have these really good images, but I still see plenty of brands that come in that are doing really well. They're doing like, 10, 30, 50 grand a month. But their images are horrible. So I wonder how much money they could be making if they had better research or better, if they what do I say, Amazonified their images to be more better, like you said, not only for the algorithm but for the customer's eye. So.
Yeah, and it's a really good point, and we have an AI image analysis tool that we've built. It's internal at the moment, but it basically assesses every single image on page 1 and page 2 around your category, and then pulls out all the common product themes, attribute themes, content that's in there, what the main seller is actually putting in the content, where the difference is, where the opportunity is, and it effectively creates this massive strategy brief that you can then use to create your images 1 through 7 and A+ content, right? And that is, to your point, is absolutely one of the biggest conversion aspects to your listing. I was at a conference a month ago with a whole bunch of top sellers, and the question of the room was asked, like, how many of you as top sellers, people doing 5 million to 50 million on Amazon, how many of you have actually changed your main image in the last 6 months? Probably 10% of the room put up their hands. And then a listing was brought up around one of the top sellers, and it was looked at in detail, and there was major problems with those images that weren't optimized, right? And so it just shows that, like, you've got to constantly look at evolving your images 1 through 7 at least, for click and conversion, right? And there's always opportunity there, so you've got to spend time there.
That's very interesting. I was just talking the other day. I also just went to a conference yesterday, and I was just talking to somebody that was very unfamiliar with Amazon, and they were a Google Ads expert. So they have a decent amount of people that want to drive Google traffic to Amazon for the brand referral bonus, for the increase in traffic and increase in keyword ranking, all that kind of good stuff. And he was so confused because he pulled up a listing on his phone. And he said, how can they get away with this? And it was a picture of, it was like some sort of drink, some sort of mint tea drink. And they had a leaf, a picture of like a leaf over top of the bottle. And this is very, like, I'm very behind on this. This isn't like groundbreaking news that you can do this, obviously. But he was so surprised that you could update your main image to have an image or like an extra piece in there. It didn't just have to be the product. And I think that is, to tie that in a little bit with AI, I think Rufus, like you said, is reading these pictures, and maybe some people don't have these descriptive pictures of their products or of their ingredients on there, and so they might even get passed over for the, I guess, the Rufus recommendation, we'll say, the RR, because they don't have this stuff. But to keep it on main images, he was so surprised that you could put this other pieces of the puzzle, put these other pieces on top of your product in the main image. He was shocked because he thought that was a big no-no back in the day. The same thing with like the emojis and the bullet points. Like, Amazon's been kind of leaning on some, kind of not super strict on others. So it's very interesting to just see how important that is.
Amazon sellers as an industry, we're always going to push the boundaries, right? And find little gaps here and take advantage of it. And, it kind of goes on for a while, and then Amazon catches up, and then they neg it, and then we all get like a reset, and then we find another opportunity, and we just kind of keep pushing, right? So that's the cool part about our industry, and all these like conversation around tariffs and everything that's happening. Part of it is like, there are some concerns, but with change and with the shakeup, there's always opportunity. I think Amazon sellers, as just an entrepreneurial spirit, we always kind of figure out how to do things bigger and better and take advantage of opportunities. So there is a lot happening with main images, and I think at a high level, the overlay of actual physical products or ingredients is something that's being done. Photoshopping your packaging to really call out for the click and conversion is absolutely happening. And that's not the packaging you're going to receive when you buy the product. That's for sure. And I'm actually 100% okay with that, because at the end of the day, if you can call out things in that main image that resonate with the seller in a better way and get the click so that they can read more and learn more about your product, great. Right. So I think that's totally fine. And certain categories are you can look at some things and they're totally out of whack, and then other categories are pretty dialed in. And it's just, the background of Amazon is like, it's so siloed, and no one speaks to each other. And so some categories are pretty strict, some aren't. And you just got to know your lane, or what category in, and what you can do.
Right, you got to know who you're fighting with, and the space that you're fighting in, kind of thing. Yeah, you wouldn't want to box in a UFC match, or vice versa. So, but
You
yeah,
wouldn't
no,
want to box
it's
as a 58-year-old. Yeah, that's for sure.
oh god, I really wanted him to lose. I knew he wasn't, and I know people that put money on Mike Tyson to win, which blows my mind. I thought that was the
Yeah.
dumbest investment they've ever made, dumbest bet they've ever placed. Because there's no way that he was going to lose. There's no way that Jake Paul was going to lose. As much
Yeah.
as I don't
I
like
mean,
him, I don't like his brother. I don't really like anybody in that space except for like a few of them. I'm not really a big YouTube guy, but for him to fight this old, and yeah, he's Mike Tyson. He's the scariest guy ever born, sure, but for him to fight this old 60-year-old man, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I hope
everyone
when
fell
Jake
for it,
Paul is
man.
60,
Everyone, yeah. Genius marketing strategy, crossing the decades. And anyway, so
so silly. I hope when Jake Paul is that old that someone is a new up and coming boxer and they ask to fight him, and he just gets his ass beat. That would be. I just can't stand him. It's just crazy that he goes after these people that he knows he's just a showman. He's not even the real
sure
boxer. He's
thing.
just
Yeah.
doing these like prize fights. It's ridiculous, ridiculous. But um, in any case, yeah, no, it's very interesting to always see like when one door closes, another one opens, kind of thing. Where we lose the ability to put emojis in there, which I personally did not ever like emojis. I thought they were kind of like, they're taking up some of my space. So I really want to put them in there. Um, but the emojis go away. You add the ingredients or like the other physical products on the main image. If Amazon starts to somehow straighten that up, which is such a cool way that people get around it too. It's so funny to. Someone told me that when you put these extra images on top of the main image, but the pixels have to touch. So like that mint leaf was overlapping of the bottle. And so when Amazon scrapes it and says, is this just the product? It doesn't realize it because the pixels are touching, which is so funny to think that their algorithm can't pick up on the fact that this is not the actual product. But I love that's like a little like loophole that you can get away with, which is very cool. Very, very cool. But it'd be interesting to see in 5 years, like what the next loophole is, or what, like you said, what the next opportunity is for Amazon sellers to, like you said, push the boundaries. Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we push the boundaries? I don't think that's a bad thing either. Amazon is, just our platform to sell products on. I don't think we're not cheating them at all, or we're not kind of breaking the rules in any way. But it'd be very interesting to see how we again push the envelope next. But you mentioned something that I have been sort of working around, and it's the AI. I am a little scared that AI is going to replace me as a podcast host. I think eventually it'll get to that point, but it's not there yet, thank God. But when I was doing some research for today, I noticed on your website you guys are using Chat GPT 4.0, which is great. And you mentioned earlier that you guys were the first ones to do it back in January of 23, which is crazy early to think about. I remember when Chat GPT I think that was right around the time that it was getting like a big popular social media trend to use ChatGPT in a funny way. So I'm curious more about how you guys are using that for, and you mentioned the one example of scraping the entire images on the first page. I'd love to know more about how you're doing it for other pieces of data, like keyword research, or just in general, looking at how you can help optimize listings, or how you can help increase profits for your clients.
Yeah, I think high level there is there's first party data that you get from Amazon, right? So I think more and more we lean into that, and that's just an evolution of Amazon actually giving us a lot more data, brand analytics, search query performance data, product opportunity explorer data. These are all data points within the APIs that we can use and access, which is fantastic. And I think that goes a really long way to helping to, at a high level, identify the right types of keyword mix that customers in a specific localized market are using to find products. And I think we do the best in the space on that. We're not just looking at what competitors index for, but really what at the source is driving exploration to find products. The ChatGPT components, I said it earlier, but there's a high level similarity between ChatGPT and results you get there and what you're getting through Rufus and AI on their side. So that goes a lot into our testing and seeing what results we get and then comparing it to searches on Rufus. So that does a lot of testing on our front. And then we're taking that whole AI component into understanding images and results from that. So as far as like, and then we have various other APIs and other data points we use, but we're collecting all of that together. And then I think where we really try and stand out is putting it through the lens of the seller, right? Because we have a strong seller DNA, and understanding like, how do we either automate this to help people grow their businesses, or how do we essentially visualize the data in the right way to answer the right business questions, so you can improve as a seller. So as an example, one of the reports that we have is around looking at the keywords that your listing is indexed for, and also the keywords that you should be indexing for, and then looking at the ranked position for every single one of those keywords across with dollar value and search volume, etc., and identifying not necessarily what your keywords are in the buy zone on page 1, right? But more importantly, the lowest hang, what's your biggest bang for the buck? If I'm a seller and I'm looking at, hey, here's all my keywords, here's what I'm indexed for everything, what's the biggest bang for buck to get me better organic growth? And it's the keywords that are sitting just outside of the buy zone, just off of page 1, because they are recognized by Amazon. They know that you sell well for it, but you're not quite competing in the right position. And so visualizing and showing you what those are, and the value of that is great from a seller perspective. Hey, I'm doing 50,000 a month on Amazon with this product, but if I move all those keywords that are outside of the buy zone into the buy zone, I can get another 100,000. So that's a pretty cool number to know. Like I should be doing 150,000 if I can do this right. And then the question becomes, how do I move those keywords from just outside of the buy zone into the buy zone? And that's going to come through basically using every lever on Amazon in the right way to get you that organic growth. And that's kind of what we focus on. So optimizing your listing, how for those targeted keywords that are outside the buy zone, how are you structuring that in your listing? How do you place that to make sure that you can move into the right place? Is it sitting in your back end search terms right now when it should be somewhere in your listing? If so, can we restructure that, right? So these are the kind of things that we look at on data, and then we feed that into the AI, so that we're structured right in the listing in the right way, and keywords are placed very strategically, and then you can finesse it further if you need to. So those are the kind of things that we do, because we have a good understanding of the algorithm, a good understanding of all the APIs, a good understanding of engineering, data, and AI, and then layering on top of that, we have a very strong seller DNA, and services DNA, where we can layer that in. So we're answering the right questions to kind of move you into the right positions and get you the most profitable sale on Amazon, right? Not every sale on Amazon is a good sale, right? So you've got to understand that as a seller.
Yeah. Keywords are a very interesting topic. And I think that I was one of the people that said keywords might be going away with Rufus. Obviously that's not the case now. It's more about being fully optimized for Rufus. And it's really, I would, maybe you disagree, but I would say it's different than it was maybe 5-6 years ago. Where it's not just keyword stuffing. It's not just throwing as many relevant and possible keywords as you possibly can fit in the bullet points or in the title. It's very specific now, and you got to be a little more detailed. I think it's going in that direction still, of being like how specific and how not right, how perfect can you get your bullet points to accurately describe your product. to rank either just for Rufus or in general, like you said, in the buy zone. So it's very interesting to hear more about keywords. I think
Yeah, and I think
they're
it,
interesting.
yeah, and I think I don't know, maybe 6 months ago there's a big conversation in the seller community around uh, lexical keyword matching on the algorithm versus semantic. Um, and lexical is more of that, like, if the keyword's there, it's going to rank you for it. Semantic is more like the AI can infer, hey, you have these keywords. What are all the other keywords that can match for that? And you know, the short answer on that is that Amazon's been doing that for a long time. You can literally find, you can have your listings all optimized. You can find a specific keyword that you don't have anywhere in your listing, and you can put it in there, and you will see that your product could rank for that, right? And so there is always semantic matching happening, and it's going further and further with AI, and not only just looking at keywords but looking at everything else in a listing. That is happening, but at its core, you know, Amazon needs to be prompted from something, and your listing is a massive prompt of what you and it should be, which is, hey, you as the owner of this business know what you should be maximizing for, and we'll take some lead from exactly what you're putting in there, and use that as prompts for all the semantic matching that we do on the AI side, right? So there's always going to be a massive role around the content that you have in your listing, and how that's structured. But to your point, where it's getting better is that, like, you can now structure the content so that it makes more sense to a customer for buying the product, rather than it just prompting the AI. And that's the evolution that's happened, is it's much smarter in being able to kind of semantically connect all the dots, so you don't have to put that word for word exact match in your listings, which is great.
Yeah, which is, like I said, it saves you some space. It's not just a word salad, which is very cool. And like I said, I'm excited to see where it goes in the next 3, 4, 5 years. Um, and like we kind of talked about it, right? It's always changing. There's always something new going on with Amazon. There's always some new weird feature they release that is we have to then kind of work around, or make our listings more optimized for it, or do X, Y, and Z to kind of fit into their whatever it is that they release. So it's always kind of a keeping up game with them. But
Yeah, and I think
still,
I think the vision on that is going to be, these personalized AI assistants that understand you as a consumer, all of the things that you're looking for, bringing you ideas, much more, not reactive but proactive, probably a lot more voice conversations, um, saying, hey, subscribe and save alerts, all of these kind of things that I think, you'll just be able to log in and have a much more recommended AI assistant shopper type experience, where, again, if we're getting lazier and lazier as humans, we're going to do less and less, and just expect those assistants to bring us everything and understand our every need, right? And that's going to be a lot of where it's going to go in the future.
yeah, and we definitely are getting lazier. I just speaking, we talked about Elon a little bit earlier. But he's got that $10,000 like robot that is a humanoid robot that can do things in your house, like it can do your laundry. They showed it like cooking, like making eggs in a pan and like pulling out the eggshells. Very, very weird. I like Elon. I like a lot about what he does with the rockets, and I thought him buying Twitter was very funny. But that one I kind of have to draw a line. I don't want that. That's you're asking to be taken over at that point. You're asking for the AI to wake up and become sentient, and take us over. Uh, no,
Oh, my
but
friend,
very
it's gonna happen in your life. Don't worry, it's gonna
no,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's like when you were a kid and they told you the sun is a star and it's gonna explode in like a billion years, and you started freaking out. It's like, oh my god, but you're not gonna be alive in a billion years. No one is. No one that you know is. So you'll be fine. I'm hoping I'm hoping that takes a little bit longer, a couple more generations. And he said, yeah, probably not in my lifetime, where we'll see this AI like wake up and there won't be fail safes to control it. And I watched too many AI sci-fi movies where they win, or they do that. So that could be a factor here. But no, it's very interesting to see how quickly AI has been integrated into society, into all the different services. I know Amazon tried their hand at also saying, "Hey, we're going to use AI to update your bullet points um, if they're not fully optimized, or if we don't think they're fully optimized." And of course, you can opt out of that, but it's just interesting the fact that they try to do it, that makes it so, geez, like what are they going to do next? Is that like a test? Are they going to start optimizing our A plus then maybe too? But I feel like for some people maybe that would be good, and I'm sure a lot of people use ChatGPT to say, hey, can you produce me an Amazon A plus for X, Y, and Z product that has this, the information in there. So be interesting to
Yeah,
see again where it goes in the next couple of
absolutely.
years.
And I think, you know, service providers, technology companies like ours, they can tend to freak out when Amazon starts to create more features and provide more data. But I've been around long enough that by Amazon doing that, they just give us more data that we can make things better, because Amazon notoriously doesn't do things well, right? And like their AI listing analysis is like ridiculously terrible. And even they showed it at AMZ Accelerates, and it was around a pair of sunglasses for Ray-Ban, and or not Ray-Ban, and they included aviator in the word, which is like, it's actually a trademark term, right? And so they were literally breaking their own rules. Just an example they showed in the thing. So like, and trying to take it out of the hands of the people that truly know that product best, which is the owner of that brand, is a mistake, right? And so as a platform, if they can empower brands to have all the knowledge and to put their best foot forward so that they can rank better and do better, they're just fanning the flames around how to create more innovation, a better customer experience, more visibility for products for customers that are buying on Amazon, and just helping them to stay ahead. And if they try and make them lazy on that front and just replace all of that, they're just going to have a dying platform that's going to give a worse and worse customer experience. So, hopefully Amazon is smart enough to figure that out. But yeah, we'll see. I think they only added that opt out at a later stage, which is like crazy. So, if I speak to any sellers, 95% of people are aware of it and have opted out because they just don't want to lose the control, right?
Yeah, I've never heard someone say, "Oh yeah, they made changes to my bullet
Hmm.
points," or "I saw the changes they were going to make and they look pretty good, so I'm going to keep them." Never ever have I heard that. So, the fact that you have 5% is crazy to me, because all of our partners say the same thing. Like we as an agency don't need that. We've got the same kind of things that maybe some other people do, but we've got the different keyword optimizations and all that kind of good stuff that we don't need Amazon's help in there, because no offense to Amazon, even though it's their data and it's their platform, but like you said, they don't know it as well as a partner or an agency that is managing the brand or the brand owner themselves. Um, so just be curious to see again where they go with that. If they continue to follow that path of, hey, we're gonna um, optimize your A plus, we're gonna optimize your store with AI, we're gonna make these changes that you get more conversions, you give us more money, kind of thing. So we'll see. But no, I'm interested. I'm interested. Like I said, I've said it a couple times now, but I'm really it's been the past couple of years have made me excited for the next couple, if that makes sense. Like the changes that they've made and the stuff that's been integrated into the space has made me excited to say, okay, like I'm in the I'm nervous about what's going to come next, but I'm at least excited about it. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think I guess my only other comment around, you know, for sellers and where things are going is more and more, I think it's fundamentally important to have an omni-channel strategy outside of Amazon, right? And
right.
and specifically, once you get those going, how do you feed traffic back into Amazon? Um, and how do you feed traffic from Amazon off to your Shopify or whatever other channels you have? And I think if you can figure that out, that is a big area of focus that I think will elevate Amazon businesses. Everyone finally me asks like, hey, how do I expand my business? Well, I can launch new products. Great. I can launch new markets. Okay. But kind of a terrible idea because there's a lot of inefficiencies in that. Um, and you can launch more channels outside of Amazon. I would say products and channels are the key things to really focus on.
Best bets. Yeah, we talk a lot about omnichannel. We do a lot of different expansions of, like you said, driving traffic back to your Amazon listing. Even if you are on TikTok or Shopify or anything like that, I would say a large. I mean, Amazon is obviously going to be the e-commerce giant always. Nothing's going to pass that. Walmart's coming close, but I don't think they're. Um, I don't think same thing with in my lifetime. I don't think I'll ever see Walmart surpass Amazon unless um, something happens to Amazon where they have to shut down for 20 years. But even then, again, very far fetched. But TikTok, I can't believe how quickly TikTok kind of took off, especially after. it was going to be banned. It was going to be banned in the US, and then all of a sudden now it's like the fastest growing e-commerce platform or something like that, social commerce now. It's really a creative. People do hundreds of thousands of dollars like a day on TikTok, which is insane to me, because that's so much money a month and then a year. But it's people love it. I know people that bought stuff off TikTok Shop that said it was a great experience. There was no hassle. There was some nervousness when they first bought it, but um, there's no fuss. There was no problems with the product when it came in. And it's from these like no name brands, and like they're selling stuff from again like these big box brands. But it was very interesting to see just how quickly they kind of turned that around. Of we're going to be banned now. We're doing extremely more money a year with our TikTok shop. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, look, TikTok has taken off because they fundamentally solved what us as e-commerce brands have been wanting to solve for in the last 6 or 7 years, which is like, how do we get these freaking influencers to sell our products and get the attribution sorted out so that we can just give them a percentage of the sale. So instead of me going to all these influencers saying, hey, I'm going to pay you to sell my product, here's $500, or giving all this money away and not knowing how that's going to deliver into actual sales, that's been the fundamental problem with Instagram and every single channel out there, right? Is like, we don't want to just, as sellers, we don't want to go and pump money into all of these influencers just because, they've got a supposed good following where they bought all of these people to follow them, and I give them $500 and nothing comes of it. I get one sale. Whereas how can I incentivize them and say, hey, and then I have to put up a bunch of capital up front to just get these things going. I cannot go onto TikTok and get all the influencers that get signed up. They sign up. I'm like, hey, I'm going to give you 7% of my commission on my sales. Great. They picked it up. They push it out. They make a bunch of sales and they get paid. And like they've seamlessly solved that, which is like just a head smacking moment because we've always just said like, hey, that's what we want. So they've had the audience and they've built a platform that can do it, and that's why they've crushed it, right? So Amazon's now trying to jump on that bandwagon or trying with with what's it called?
The Amazon Inspire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And creator connections, right? And just trying to get,
right.
Yeah,
Yes. So
creator
the
connections, trying to get,
influencer.
yeah, exactly. And so, if I'm a brand right now, that's one thing that you should, if you can get access, I would lean into that because it's a threat to Amazon. And so they're going to pump money into that initiative. So already with creator connections, they're putting ads behind, any people that are literally posting stuff, and trying to get visibility and get sales to it because they want that to be successful because that is really the competitive edge to TikTok, right? So if you have the ability to get into their program as a seller, I think there's a minimum fee of like $5,000 or something like that, but like just get in and start using it because they will pump you over this holiday period for sure.
Yeah. And I know we just had Daniil on, who is a guy from Incense. He specifies in, or his specialty is in like UGC and creator content and all that kind of good stuff. And it's crazy just how deep this influencer rabbit hole goes of how niche you can get. Like there are, and being a kid that grew up with social media, I figured there were a lot of different, category specific influencers, and you can have any kind of product ever. And there's an influencer out there that has an audience that is looking for your exact product. Like there's obviously, of course, all the sports influencers. Like there's the golf products that people will buy and they'll review, but they've got specific people that are just looking at like one individual product that all they do is they buy that one product and they review. It's crazy. It's crazy. There's a lot of different weird types of content out there that aren't weird, but could be beneficial to your product that you probably don't even know exist. And this, like you said, these content creators, TikTok in general, you could find these people and just give them a bunch of your products. And like you said, give them the attribution link and they get the profit. You get the profit, they get the commission. It's very interesting just to see how deep this industry goes as far as
It's
these influencers.
the age old saying the riches are in the niches, right? And
Yep.
you have this global audience now, and so across everything, right? As a brand, if you can be more specific, you have the audience there to buy it. So that's how you stand out.
That's very interesting. And same thing. I'm excited to see where TikTok goes in a few years because I know that there was some deal they had to get bought and they had to get bought by an American company or something like that, so they didn't get banned. I don't know if that's still in effect or if they got that dropped, but I thought Amazon was going to buy them. To be quite honest with you, like a couple months ago, I really did think Amazon was going to say, okay, let's buy TikTok. We'll keep it, everything the same, but now all these products are going right through. They're doing Buy with Prime on there. I think you can actually use Buy with Prime now on the TikTok website on your own TikTok shop link or something like that. I'm not really super sure how it goes just yet, but I'm still working on learning the fundamentals and all the high level stuff for there. But it's very interesting. I'm excited to see how all these e-commerce platforms are going to be integrated together, hopefully sooner rather than later. So, what's next for ZonGuru? What's on the horizons? What's in 2025? What are we as the audience? What are we expecting to see from you guys? And what's really some of your big projects that you're working on?
Yeah, there's a bunch, but I think at a high level, we're trying to help sellers with better organic and profitable growth on Amazon. I think that's one of the biggest challenges of 2023 and 2024, and fundamentally understanding all the various levers that are available to you on Amazon and how to use them through the lens of growing your organic sales. And so we have more features, more products coming out in that space. Obviously, fundamentally accounting for all the algorithmic changes that are happening in AI. Yeah, I think you're going to see more in the listing content side as a focus for us, and certainly more AI aspects and assistance. That you as a seller can get, so that we're being a lot more proactive in our technology and in alerting and telling you, rather than reactive or getting less seller inputs or user inputs, and more understanding what you guys need and then giving that to you. So that's our focus going into the new year.
Very cool. No, I love it. Love to hear it. Like I said, I am trying to learn AI. I'm trying to be less worried about losing my job. So I'm excited to see how you guys get into that, and if that is used in the organic ranking as well. I'll have to have you back on in a few months to see how everything's going and kind of check in with these, like I said, these projects. So very cool. Well, John, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on our podcast, coming on and talking to me about this. I definitely learned something today. I hope you did as well. This was a great episode, and I'm excited to maybe again have you on for another one.
Love to be on, man. Yeah, that was super interesting, and let's see where we go. A year is a long time and a short time too. So we'll see what happens in whenever we come on next.
I was just saying the other day, it's very scary to think that we're closer to 2030 now than we are to like 2018, which is insanity. It's very insane to think about that we're how quickly these years have been moving lately. I don't know if that's a pre-COVID effect or what, but very scary to think that we're already at November 21st in 2024, and we're almost in 2025. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, to follow John on LinkedIn and check out ZonGuru, I will have the links for both down below. Make sure to give us a like and a subscribe if you also learned something today, and if you like this episode. John, once again, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, great questions. Appreciate it. Had fun, and good luck for everyone out there. Eat the turkey and watch your Amazon sales come in. Yeah, we'll see.
Have a great holiday season. Hopefully, fingers crossed, no stress. I know there's always going to be stress for the end of the year for Amazon sales, but hopefully it's as little as possible. So, thanks everybody for watching. I'm your host, Velocity Pete, and we will see you next week.